Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another video. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new exclusive that has entered the vault, Ukkima, Stalking Shadow. Now, really quick thank you, shout out to Octagon for hooking me up with this bundle so that I could make this video. They actually said I didn't have to make it, but you know me. I like to make videos on as much as I can. So, Ukkima is going to come with 4 cards. The mythic is Ukkima itself. Ukkima is a 10 mana 4/4 whale wolf. It is unblockable, legendary, and has companion like the other exclusive cards thus far from Ikoria. The companion ability for Ukkima is this card's companion ability is active if your starting deck contains 4 or more cards with flash. And if you have that companion ability active when you cast it, you get Kaiser, Ruthless Stalker, Caesar, I don't know. It's going to be a support with 3 shields, and when a creature you control deals combat damage, that creature gets +1/+1. If you're not sure what combat damage is, that's when it attacks and deals damage from attacking. If you deal both damage to a creature and to a planeswalker because of Berserker and Trample, or Defender and Trample or something like that, that does not count. That's just one source of damage. Double Strike, however, will count as 2 sources of combat damage, so that will get you 2 buffs. When Ukkima dies or is exiled from the battlefield, gain X life, then it deals X damage to your opponent's planeswalker, where X is this creature's power. Now, because of the die effect, you really just are going to have that trigger when your opponent kills it. There really aren't very good uses of it for you killing your own Ukkima. And then as for the exile, that can be really nice with some flicker effects. The only downside is that when you exile and return a creature to the battlefield with a flicker effect, like, say, Thassa, you tend to lose either reinforcements, buffs, or both. So Yorion is going to allow you to keep your reinforcements, but you'll still lose any other buffs that you would put on Ukkima, and so it makes it very tricky to make that bottom half a very strong ability. For the 3 rares, you'll see that they're coming in blue, black, and green. So this would require a blue, black, green planeswalker to play with. We do not currently have a blue, black, green planeswalker in Puzzle Quest, so you do have to use one of the colorless walkers, either Karn, the Eldrazi Desolation, or Ugin. The 3 rares are Untitled Barracuda, which is an 8 mana support, and makes it so that when you draw a card, that card gains flash. And when you cast a card during your opponent's turn, your first creature gets +2/+2. That's going to be a permanent +2/+2 buff. And while on the board, your opponent can't cast cards during your turn. So your opponent can't flash cards during your turn is the basic piece of that. This definitely ties in with Ukkima, as Ukkima needs cards with flash for the companion ability, and the Untitled Barracuda has flash itself. The only downside to this card, really, is just that flash is in a really funky place in the game right now. Octagon has said that they're going to be doing something at some time in the near future to flash. They haven't said what it is, but maybe this card will be more usable when they do that. Just if flash right now, it's very gimmicky. The second card is Titan Hunter. It also has flash. It's a creature. It's 13 for a 5/6. And at the end of each player's turn, if the top card of that player's graveyard is a non-creature card, this creature deals 4 damage to that player. And then it also has, at the beginning of the combat on your turn, you may destroy target creature you control. If you do, you gain 4 life. So this is another card that pairs very naturally with Ukkima's abilities, as this has flash, so it's going to count toward the companion. And then with you being able to destroy one of your creatures to gain life, you can destroy your Ukkima, gain the life from this, gain the life from Ukkima, deal damage to your opponent from the Ukkima, and prevent yourself from taking damage to the top ability, which says that if the top card is a non-creature card, it deals 4 damage to that player at the end of each player's turn. So it pairs really nicely with Ukkima. It's just it's not like a really strong ability. And the last card is Capricopian. So Capricopian is 8 for a 2/2. It's got a stored mana of 4, which means that it can come in as a 6/6, When you cast this card, it gets plus X, where X is this card's stored mana, hence it can come in as a 6/6. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, if your opponent has a card with full mana in their hand, this creature gets +2/+2 and is disabled until end of turn. So effectively, you'd be sacrificing your ability to attack in order to get a permanent buff on Capricopian. And the final ability on Capricopian is when you cast a card during your opponent's turn, this creature fights target opposing creature. So once again, it plays into that whole flash thing, where if you're going to flash something in, then Capricopian's going to be able to start removing your opponent's creatures. So if you get this bundle, you will get these 4 cards. Now I got pretty lucky. I got some pretty good footage of all of the cards working in conjunction and getting all their different abilities off and whatnot. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into that gameplay. Alrighty, so I'm running this with Karn. You'll see that I've got Tidal Barracuda and I've got Athreos Shroud Veiled in my hand. My thinking with Athreos was that I could try and sacrifice Ukkima and have Athreos bring Ukkima back. So here's Ukkima right here. You'll see that I had the Tidal Barracuda frozen in my hand. I just didn't want it to lose shields. I figured there was probably no way that I was going to get anything out of it this turn. So I dropped the Tidal Barracuda. I've got Court of Calling, which is great because that means I can try and fetch some more pieces from the bundle to try and pull on out. Maybe the Goat Mira Chimera thing or something like that. And then also because I'm using Karn, I want to be able to start using my first ability. Fortunately, Capricopian, I just wind up drawing it, and you'll see right there that the Capricopian had Flash. So the next time I toggle my hand, you'll see that the Capricopian has Flash, and that's because I drew it. Now, here, I'm weighing if I should take Ukkima to get the blue-black permanent increase or Nissa's Pilgrimage for the green. I wound up choosing Nissa's Pilgrimage just so I could get some gem conversion going. You'll see there that the Capricopian does indeed have Flash now, which means that I can actually flash the Capricopian into play and possibly get its ability for flashing it into play. Now, sadly, Ukkima's token came in. You'll see that Ukkima deals combat damage right there to the Scab Goliath, and so that gives it the buff. So Berserker damage, that counts. Defender damage, any of that kind of thing, that counts. So I've got Court of Calling. I want to start playing things for their flash, because if I do that, then the Tidal Barracuda is actually going to go ahead and start buffing my guys. Now, I've got the Sea Dasher Octopus also. That was so that I could have some reliable card draw going in the deck. And so, yes, I do have the Chimera frozen in my hand, but that was just, like I said, because I wanted to play it for flash here. So I go ahead, I flash the Chimera in, it gets the +4/+4, and then you'll see that I immediately have it fight. So if you flash it into play, you can have it fight for its ability. That makes it so that if you play a card during your opponent's turn, it will fight something else. Unfortunately, as you see, it doesn't get the +2/+2 from the Tidal Barracuda before it fights. So here I'm going to go ahead and take Athreos. I'd rather have the permanent mana boost to 2 colors, even though I don't want the Athreos, I want the mana boost. And so now my opponent doesn't have any creatures down, so it really doesn't make sense for me to play things with Flash. It makes more sense for me to just go on playing stuff. So that was me checking that green support in the middle with 1 shield, and that was just to see if I had done that landfall for white, what would I have lost? I decided I wanted to keep that support, just keep powering Ukkima up. As for my opponent, you'll see that I'm up against Alhammarret's Archive. They gave me this bundle a little bit before it came out, like I think a day before it came out to start testing, but I'm not allowed to test anything in PvP or anything like that if it's not available in game for everyone else. So there you'll see that we got the prompt to destroy a creature, and I didn't want to destroy Ukkima there. I mean, there's just really no point in losing Ukkima at this stage in the match. And from my general testing with the bundle, I found that there really aren't going to be a lot of situations where you're going to want to sacrifice Ukkima, like where it's actively better to sacrifice Ukkima than to just let it stay on the battlefield and keep doing what it's doing. So in general, it's definitely better to keep it down. Now I've got Ember Cleave in here also, along with Inspired Ultimatum. Ember Cleave is in here so that I can give that first creature double strike, and so that we can get that buff from Ukkima's token 2 times in a turn instead of 1. So I'm doing some hand juggling here. I know, quite a bit of hand juggling actually, and I'm just looking for what would be a good play here. And then remember, Karn's mana bonuses change, so you'll periodically see me checking on Karn's mana bonuses. I've got Titan Hunter asking if I want to take out Ukkima again. I don't want to take out Ukkima. I definitely want to wait until my opponent is in killing range, and then I'm gonna want to kill Ukkima. So we're gonna try and wait for that. Now you'll see that Nissa's Pilgrimage has flash from the Tidal Barracuda. I do want to start trying to get some buffs from that Barracuda, and my opponent does have that 7/9 creature, so that does mean that they will have something that will enable me to use the Barracuda. But you'll also see that Ukkima's token is no longer down, so my creatures are no longer buffing themselves, right? I've got a chance to pick something up. I'm going to go ahead and pick a Capricopian. But I didn't draw the Capricopian, so I can't actively play the Capricopian here. So I have to wait until, well, this turn to play the Capricopian. Playing another Ukkima is going to get me the token back, which will be really nice. So it definitely makes sense to drop the Ukkima this turn, and then just dropping the Capricopian down, getting a little bit of extra power. But you could say that you've got the Capricopian. Why not play it during your opponent's turn? It didn't have flash, so I got it with Court of Calling. And so Tidal Barracuda, you'll see here that it really is only going to give the critters flash if you draw them, which is what the card says. But it's just you have to keep that in mind as you're pulling them, right? If you've got cards like Court of Calling in your deck, that's going to fetch them. Now, as we go, as the match progresses a little bit, I talked a little bit about Ukkima, just that you're probably not going to want to use the ability and kill it off until the end of the match. There really just isn't much of a good time to use the ability, which is too bad. Like, I wish that there was some way that it could have maintained its buffs or something. That would have made it really, really cool. Getting +1/+1 on each of the creatures here when they attack is just sort of like, nah, like it's okay. The Titan Hunter is, I mean, I really rarely want to destroy my own creatures, so it's useful for objectives where you need to kill your own creature. But that's really about it, right? I mean, you otherwise aren't going to want to do that. The Capricopian doesn't have enough power toughness to be fighting other creatures very much. And so the Saving Grace card here would be the Tidal Barracuda, and there is absolutely a use for it with Calamax. But yeah, it's just, until Flash gets reworked, it's not super great, So there's Ukkima swinging and then killing. That's all the cards in the bundle, really. So thank you guys for watching. Yeah, I mean, it's not a super strong bundle. I'd say it's the weakest of the Ikoria ones. But yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.